Hey, hello everybody. It is Atticus, and it has been a tough couple days, but I figured I would make a new video, and this one would be a deep dive on teaching. So this would be for teachers. Go into the teaching playlist, and we will broach subjects on how to be a better teacher, some tips for the classroom, and some things that I've learned over the last 3 years of doing this, specifically in Vietnam, specifically with young learners. So if you're an advanced college level teacher, this probably ain't gonna help you. But if you're new to the game, like I once was, if you're trying to improve, if you're trying to actually make a difference in some of these students' lives instead of just there to for a paycheck, stick around. But before I get started, I'd like to ask you if you enjoy this content, if you could help me out, leave a like, subscribe. I never thought I'd want to be one of those guys that says that, but now that I'm starting to see my channel grow, like it really does help. Leaving a like, a little subscribe, one little button for you really has helped my channel grow. Like 100 new subscribers within like a month. It's crazy just by that one little thing, that one little request, how I could change everything for you. So let's start. Let's talk about some things about the classroom. I've mentioned before how that classroom is your canvas, how you are either the maestro, which is a music, you're the composer, the maestro, or you're the painter. You're Bob Ross up there with your paintbrush, and that classroom is your canvas. So every factor, every aspect of it falls on you, from where everybody sits, from what you ask your TA to do, from how you go about approaching your class. And let me talk first about the different kind of teachers that I've seen. Now, there's generally three types of teachers. There are the ones like me who are all about the fun. Some people don't like the way I teach, but I get 100% retention rates. So the parents like the way that I teach. The kids are always excited to see me because I see learning as it should be a fun experience. That if students aren't having fun, then they're not learning. Many other teachers take this thing too serious. They think that it has to be strict and it has to be this discipline, by the book. Everybody's sitting at attention, no playing around, no goofing around. A teacher cannot be, and they're wrong. They're wrong, like that, especially with young learners. And that is a shock. I've noticed that to a lot of the TAs. TA stands for teachers assistants. When they first will have a class with me, they'll be so put off by how I am so. To them, it must seem apathetic or just easygoing or just so aloof about how I go about teaching, and it's not that. It's just that I have a very carefree, but a methodology behind that carelessness or that carefreeness. So little things, for example, I make little noises that the students, I've conditioned the students to know that means like, oh, it's time to listen. So I'll be like, boop. And the kids, they'll be goofing around, they'll be screaming, hollering, I'll be like, boop, 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 boop. So if I see a kid doing something wrong, okay, imagine you're a student doing something wrong. And then I'll be like, boop, 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 like a chicken, like a chicken. And all the kids will laugh and they'll look and see who it is. Or another thing, I have a cane, right? I have a foot injury. So whenever I go, boom, with the cane, everybody like, it's like the cane, or I'll hold the cane up like this and I'll just hold it as if it's like the power rod of destiny, and the kids just associate that with hey, it's time to listen, or teacher Indy has something to say, or and little things like that. But the most important thing is I have fun with it. I don't believe in that every kid just sit here like this. Okay, everybody, take your turn, raise your hand, because for one thing, it's never going to happen. You're never going to have a class that does that. Two, if you try to be a teacher like that, you're not going to have fun with it. You're going to end up resenting the job. Students are going to fear you. They're not going to like you. And the retention rate's going to drop. The school's going to lose students. So keep in mind, you're not only teaching, but you're also trying to retain. It's a business. And part of retaining is that you want your students to come to the school. So when their parents ask them, hey, how was class today? You want them to be like, hey, Teacher Andy was great. He was funny. We played this game. We did that. And you will have parent-teacher meetings where you will meet the parents, and they will size you up based off what their students have said about you or have spoken about you. So yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind. So that's one type of teacher, right? The ones that it's just meant to be fun, but that doesn't mean that you don't try. That doesn't mean that you don't put the work in. I'll spend 15, 30 minutes of preparation every night thinking about what I'm going to do. I have to write it into the computer. I have to, it's called record of work, at least at my school, right? Where you put a detailed, what I plan to do, homework that I'll be assigned. And then after the class, you have to write about what you did, if there was any behavior problems or what students are falling behind, kind of like a summary of like, for example, Sal was struggling with her pronunciation and Tuan was hurting with his consonants and blah, blah, blah. And I would maybe recommend more homework on this chapter for so-and-so. Little things like that. It's all part of the job. Another kind of teacher I see is the ones that I call the machines. And the machines are good. They're good teachers. One of my good friends I call a machine teacher. Machine teacher is not meant to be in any way derogatory. Doesn't mean anything bad about them. It just means that they've done it for so long. They've perfected the art of how they teach that I think that they're an autopilot where they do it. They are a machine about how they go about it. They have a methodology. They have all their PowerPoints. They've used the same kind of, they've taught the class a million times. So there's I won't say any ingenuity. I'm not going to say that per se. I'm going to say that the passion is artificial. There is nothing that will really surprise you. It is very good at teaching older students. Maybe that's why some of the teachers that do this, choose this style of teaching is because it is for an older type. You can't be goofy, and playing games with people your age who want to learn English or IELTS, But even when they're teaching young learners, they are by the book. They will follow the Cambridge or whatever the recent science is about how to teach to the letter. So it's all about even things that I don't even understand. It's all about your TPRs or CCQs and all these acronyms about like I'm talking deep science, delta level forms of teaching. And don't get me wrong, that is the best teaching you could get on a educational when it comes to if on a knowledge information based level. But will the kids retain that knowledge, or will they be kind of just zoned off in their own kind of world? That's what I challenge teachers like that on. You are the best when it comes to giving the information, but I'm the best at maybe how I present it. I'm the best at maybe how I'm able to keep their attention. You're good at understanding it. I'm maybe better at making it fun for them. And the third kind of teacher are the ones that are, how would I classify these kind of teachers? I just call them the lifers. I don't know. I don't want to see them as a derogatory, but 9 times out of 10, they will usually be a bad kind of teacher. The ones for the paycheck, the ones that will just sit at the desk the whole time, throw on the YouTube, the ones that have no passion towards the job, the ones who don't care if the students succeed, if they fail, they just want to get through their shift and go. And I get that, who doesn't? But the thing is, though, is you could go into, when you start to teach, right, you might go in there the most cold-hearted, son of a gun in the world. But those students will grow on you, and they will become little brothers, little sisters to you, and you will look at them like little brothers, little sisters after a while, and you'll actually care to see them succeed. you'll actually feel as if you're making an impact on their life, and there's something very rewarding about that. I don't know if I'll ever have a family. Maybe this will be the closest I'll ever have to experiencing what it is to, have to be able to teach a child something to help better them in their life. And if that's the case, I can see how that can be fulfilling. But this third type of teacher that I speak of, they don't care about that. There was one called I'm gonna call him. I don't care. I'll just call him by his first name. His name was Louis. This guy was fat. He was sloppy. Me and him almost got into a fight because he was claiming to be something he wasn't. He when I called him out on it, then he started to hide behind the whole religion thing. We'll say stolen valor. We'll just call it that, right? And he was a slob. Guy couldn't tuck his shirt in. Clothes were always on. He was just fat, lazy, old, just kind of creepy. Dude was probably in his 50s, late 50s, yet he was creeping on these like 20-year-old girls. Your typical fat, American that comes over here thinking that just because he's American, he's gonna be able to get some girl 20 years younger than him. Newsflash, it doesn't work that way if you're a disgusting pig, and he was. And me and him almost threw some hands. And but I was not going to lose my job for some, slob. I'm just going to call him that. We're going to call him the slob. But I did offer him to meet me across from the school grounds at the lake for a friendly get-together where we could talk and discuss things like men, which he, obviously didn't come. But back to the point, though. These slob kind of teachers, these lazy kind of teachers, what makes somebody into that? Is it do they get burnt out? Do they just don't care in the first place? Is the job too hard? Look, I'm not going to lie and say that I'm the most passionate teacher in the world, but I still care. I still find, I can still remember specific classes where specific, I've taught thousands of classes at this point. But I can remember hundreds of specific classes where there's been these like funny, great moments of either a student doing something, incredible, or the excitement of them passing a test, or just a funny joke or a moment, or just whatever. I can remember just these, memory after memory after memory. Each class will always be different. But these third class, these slobs, what do they remember? I resent these kind of people. I resent them, especially if they're American. If you are an American, like me, do not come to Vietnam being a piece of crap. You are representing our whole country. You are given the privilege of teaching the youth of Vietnam, and that is an honor that you should cherish. There's always going to be trolls and haters and all that. It'll say this and that. Just ignore them. Ignore trolls. That's what I do. I don't even respond to them. I don't care. I just block them. And when I say block them, I block them out in real life. I block them out if they send me letters. I block them out on the internet. If you're a troll, if you're a hater, literally, you're nothing to me. But yeah, you got to care. You got to care. And you got to have some passion in the job. And if you don't have that, you don't deserve to be out here. If you're an American, you have a responsibility to not make us all look bad. And I take that, my responsibility in that whole ecosystem of Americans who teach, especially being one of the rare ones that will teach this far up north. I think I might be the only American this far up north that I know of, at least. When I say this far up north, I'm literally on the Vietnam-China border. So how much north can you go? Those are some different teachers that you'll encounter. When it comes to management is a whole different ballgame. I can make a whole separate video just about that. because I've worked at several different schools, and you have to break it down to either if it's a foreign management, or if it's Vietnamese, the different kind of cultures, the different kind of workplace, and that is a can of worms that would take another hour for us to talk about, and we will save that for the next video. So for this one, we'll just talk about we'll keep it at the teachers, and and keep this one within 20 minutes or shorter. But the next video, we will talk about the management and some of the pitfalls, some of the different things you need to look out for, and yeah, some tips that I'll give you. I will give you the number one tip that you will need to learn to be successful as a teacher. A tip that I made the mistake of not appreciating my first year here because I didn't know any better, but now I know. And let's just say that it's a lot easier to make friends with somebody than it is to be enemies. Choose your battles. Not everything has to be a fight. And even if you are 15 years older, have 100 billion more life experiences, especially in a culture where age is everything. This is in Vietnam. Age is everything. Age is respect. Problem with me is the way that I dress, the way that I act, the way that I look, I sometimes don't look my age. I'm a lot older than some people sometimes will think. And I'm not afforded that same amount of respect as somebody who might have a few more gray in their beard or wrinkles, or has given up on that wild side of motorcycles and just not giving a care, free about life, and still has that childhood kind of just demeanor of like, life's just a big game, have fun, live it to the fullest till it's your time to go, But yeah, even if you have that advantage over somebody, if they have an advantage over you when it comes to a work kind of thing, do not make enemies. Do not make enemies. You will make your life a living hell. I've made a few enemies. They're in the past now, so it doesn't really matter. But during those times, my God, was it frustrating and annoying and stressful. And the thing is, I guess, is that you have to go through it so that you learn. How else are you going to learn unless you go through it? And that's why you have someone like me to help you navigate and to avoid the mistakes that I made. So if you are thinking of becoming a teacher in Vietnam, learn from me, learn from my experience, and remember, I did this all by myself. I went to a city that there was no expat bubbles. No one spoke English. At least if the people who did, I didn't know who they were. I had to figure everything out on my own. And every little pitfall, mistake, trap that you could fall in, I did. Everything that you could suffer, I did. So I've been through it. You can learn a lot from me, and I'm anxious and willing to share my experience with you, and I will. So, okay, we're gonna wrap this video up. So that is about teachers. I don't know if that was helpful, but it will kind of give you an idea about what your coworkers will be like. And knowing your coworkers will help you better understand about what kind of teacher you want to be. And you need to decide that. What kind of teacher are you going to be? Not only will that affect your job performance, how will it affect your enjoyment at being here in Vietnam, but it's also going to, like I said, you're not just representing yourself, you're representing the country which you come from. If you're a slob, if you're some fat slob, lazy, POS, keep in mind, you're hurting the name of everybody else, and there's consequences of that. So, all right, it is Indy. I'm doing all right. I know some things were not too good lately. I shaved off my beard, and the best thing you could do when you're going through some hard stuff is just stay working, stay focused. Don't give yourself time to think. And I won't. I feel it. It's here. But all you could do is just put that mask on and just push ahead. All right, good. Goodbye.